Switch on your camera so we can have a nice class today, an interactive session. So tell me, did you finish off with the story we started, a visit to Cambridge? You finished the exercises?
Yeah.
Mazin, where are you? Are you in the farm? I can see you in the, oh, now you are on.
What?
Where are you now? You're in the US? In San Francisco? Where are you now?
Yes, I'm US. No, ma'am, that's visual background.
Okay, excellent. I like your explorer. Since we visited Cambridge, you decided you were going to travel around the world. Good for you. All right.
Yeah.
I want us to wrap up on the visit to Cambridge so we can start on a new chapter. And the exercise.
No, ma'am, that's visual background. That is visual background.
Yes, it is. I know it's visual background. Of course, there is no way you would have been in a farm and suddenly you are in San Francisco. It's not possible, right? So I know it's a visual background, but at least you're exploring the world, right? Okay. Now, we stopped here during the last class and I asked if we can finish off the exercises so we can move on to something interesting and new this time around. And I remember the question was, they couldn't talk much, the son made him silent, and it was because the letters on his screen disappeared in the glare of the sun. If you can remember, it is about the two gentlemen, Stephen Hawking and Fido Skanga, two men who were stuck in wheelchair because of their physical disability.
That's three over. Multiple choice question and the read answer over and the think and answer also.
Which one?
That's 3 over. We we discussed that 3.
Yeah, we did this. We did those ones. Yeah. Now, who was the poor man? I had said the poor man was, the guide was referring to Stephen Hawking, not because he's poor of money, but you know, when you say, oh, poor you, when you use the word poor, you're not saying the person is poor, but you're trying to, you know, express sympathy. The person is going through difficulty and you are expressing sympathy. You understand that? Right? You understand this? When somebody says, oh, poor girl, that doesn't mean she's poor. She may not be poor, but she's going through a difficult time in their life. So when you use that word poor, you're trying to express sympathy, right? You understand what I'm saying, Aisha?
What, ma'am?
You understood me. Did anybody understand what I said?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that poor is not only used in the context of not having money. Poor can be used in the context to express sympathy or empathize with someone who is going through a difficult time. So in this case, the guide is referring to Stephen as poor man, not because Hawking was poor. He was not poor at all, but because of his physical disability. Right. So now we ask the question, do you think, I'm going to skip to 2 because I think we've already talked about this. Why does the image of a lantern cross the author's mind at the sight of Stephen Hawking? Faid, actually, let me hear what you think about number 1. This number 1, why does the image of a lantern come to the author's mind when he thinks about Stephen Hawking or when he saw Stephen Hawking? Why does he think of a lantern? A lantern is something that brings out light that glows. Why do you think he thought about Stephen Hawking as a lantern? Any ideas, anybody?
In and glimpse.
Stephen Hawking is outside from disabled, but inside he is glowing.
Inside he is very brilliant. He is glowing. He's like a light. He has so much to offer. His brightness. You know, when you say someone
Just
is
like-
bright. So he's bright, he's glowing. So despite the fact that his body had shrunk, despite the fact that he's differently abled, despite all that, he could see him as light. He could see so much brilliance in this person. Okay. Do you think there's something good about being differently abled? Is there anything positive when people are differently abled? Is there anything positive, Aisha?
Like we can get first. Like everyone thinks about us first. Even though if we are saying the grocery shop, if we have something to pay, we can pay first.
Hmm.
We don't
Okay.
need to
So
wait.
being differently abled compels the person to explore themselves further. Because they are not able to do this and that and those, they have to start thinking of what can they do. Remember, Hawking had advised those who are physically disabled to do that which they can and they love doing. So when they are differently abled, people tend to see, okay, I cannot run because I don't have feet. I cannot hold things because I don't have hands, but what can I do? So I will paint with their mouth or whatever it is, but they become good at what they do. Nobody wants to be differently abled, but those who are try to make the most of it. So yes, something good about it is they are able to think of other talents. They're able to apply their skills. They're able to push themselves beyond the boundaries. They are able to think outside the box and try to make a life for themselves. All right. Read the following text statement and answer the questions that follow. I haven't been brave. I have had no choice. Who said this? Nafil? Who says, I haven't been brave, I've had no choice? You're muted. I haven't been brave. Why did he say, why is it Fidos Kanga? Why do you say Fidos Kanga?
He said no that.
Hmm? Are you guessing or are you sure? It is Stephen Hawking. It tells us here, in the next page. I haven't been brave, said his disembodied computer voice. Remember, the person speaking computer voice is Stephen Hawking. Says, I have had no choice. And why does he say I have had no choice? Same, Nafil, tell me. I haven't been brave, Stephen Hawking said so. Why does he say I have had no choice?
Yes, no choice. Yes, only one choice.
What choice is that? You said he has only one choice. What choice? That's what I want. To be brave. Now he has no choice how his body turned out. He's not in control of his physical disability. The only thing he is in control of is how he responds to the situation, how he manages the situation, how he lives his life with the situation he is in. So he doesn't have a choice in being disabled. Yes?
Computer voice said to come afternoon.
Oh, really? Can you hear me now?
Not that. Answer.
It sometimes lags. I think it's lagging. That's a network lagging. Okay, so like I was saying, like I was saying, Stephen doesn't have a choice. Mr. Hawking doesn't have a choice in what to do. He doesn't have a choice in choosing whether he'll be disabled or not. He found himself like that. But he has a choice in how he responds to it. He has a choice if he decides to sit and say, oh my God, I am so unlucky. Why, poor me. No, he didn't do that. He still chose to be one of the brightest and the best scientists ever, despite all the challenges he faced. So saying he's brave, no, I didn't have a choice. I just had to do what I had to do. Okay, I agree with him. Let's see, I agree with the speaker. Why? Because he didn't have a choice. He didn't create himself. He found himself that way. That was how life treated him. And then he chose to be bigger than what life had handed him. He chose to be bigger than the physical appearance and the physical disability. What is being brave according to you? What do you think being brave is?
Is good.
Yeah, according to
so we can face everything by ourselves.
Yeah. Aisha, can you switch on your camera? Faid, what do you think about being brave?
I have switched on my camera. I haven't switched off it yet.
No, I saw Aisha. There are two Aishas here. Aisha Jana. Jana. I was talking to Aisha Jana.
Oh,
Fahim?
Jannat now. It's Jannat.
Janet. Okay.
Yes.
Please switch on your camera, dear. Thank you for your response, sir. Yes, it you know, what is bravery to me? What does it mean to be brave? To be able to stand in front of adversity, to be able to face challenges without fear, or even to do them with fear, but not to give up, not to decide not to give up, to decide to keep pushing, to decide not to just say, well, you know what, this is the situation, I cannot change it. What do you want me to do? I don't have hands, I don't have legs, what can I do? No, but to brave it and think of other ways to get things done and to make a mark. You're still young, so it's good for you to think of being brave consistently. Yeah. Do you think being differently able invites sympathy? Is this what differently abled is all about? Do they need sympathy? What is the best you can do? If you have a friend who is differently abled, how do you think you can help them? Is it by saying, oh, look at that poor friend of mine. He has lost he doesn't have arms, he wasn't born with legs. Is it all the time you feel sorry for them, or what? Sad.
We can help him with every work. He can't.
No, that's not the best. If you help him or her with every work, they will not learn to, they will not that they will not learn, but they will not be able to find ways to be independent.
We can advise.
You can support. You can support. And okay, if they want to do something that requires hands, then you can support them if they don't have. But you will also have to help them or support them to find ways to be independent, because they have their self-respect and integrity and all that. So yes, we are there to support them, but we shouldn't feel, how do I want to overshadow them with our trying to be nice and then make them feel useless. Okay. Listen to the predictive listening. What is predict? What do you mean by predicting? What does the word, when you say predict, what does that word mean? Mohammed Mazin, what does it mean to predict something?
Predicting the future.
Thinking of
Choose.
something that will happen in future. Thinking of something. You're predicting this is likely going to happen. So let's say there are few passages given here on predictive listening. I think it's going to rain. I think it's going to rain. Is that a predictive or is that an assumption or what? What do you think?
What, ma'am? You say one more?
If I say, I think it's going to rain today, is that predictive news or is that making an assumption?
Predicting.
Predictive. Maybe I have looked at the weather. That's why you have weather channels. And I've seen this heavy cloud and all that. And then I say, I think it's going to rain. Now, let us look. Listen to the text and choose the correct option. What can you predict from the news item? It is very hot in New Delhi. People are careless. After reading the news item, people will protect themselves from the heat wave. Heat stroke can kill people. So what are you going to be able to predict from all this? What can you predict? Aisha?
Just maybe hot in New Delhi.
Apparently, maybe they're having heat wave, right? They're having heat wave and what? So the news is saying this so people will do what? Protect themselves and take precaution. But those who are careless will probably go out in the heat and they'll have heat stroke, and heat stroke can kill. Now, what is saying predictive listening? Why do we do predictive listening? Predictive listening is like telling a story. You hear one line and you should be able to think of what will happen next and the next and the next. It's a little bit like doing the Chinese whispers. You know the Chinese whispers? Have you ever done the Chinese whispers? So we're going to do a little bit of Chinese whispers right now. I'm going to start a story chain and each of us will say one line, what they think very fast, come up with a story, anything, but we're trying to predict something, all right? What do you think will happen at the end of the story? I want to see where the story will tell us, or will take us to. So this is my first line. The next person will be Mazin. This morning, the storyline starts like this. This morning, I saw a farmer. This morning, I saw a farmer.
I want to answer that.
You will add your own story, your own line. So my first line is, this morning, I saw a farmer. I'm going to be typing it. So what will you add? Mazin, what's your own? What are you going to add to the line I just gave? This morning, I saw a farmer.
Yeah.
So what are you adding? We're creating a story. What's your line? This is my line. Mazin, this morning I saw a farmer. So what happened? You take it from the word. You take it from, I saw a farmer. You take it and say something, what the farmer was doing, what you saw or whatever. Can someone try?
Yeah.
This morning I saw a farmer.
He was harvesting.
Good. He was
He was harvesting. Yeah.
harvesting.
Is drive tractors.
With what?
He was sowing. And he was sowing.
He was.
And the next day.
And he was sowing. Okay, one after the other. Okay, next one.
And the next day he was storing.
And the next day he was what?
Storing the food grains.
He was what?
Storing the
Storing.
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 Oh, storing. Okay.
And the next day he was in bed.
And the next day he was what?
Exporting.
Exporting. Well, you cannot use on the next day and the next day. Okay.
The last day I got the food from the farmer.
You got what? Apples.
Yeah, food item, anything.
The next day is seeding.
And
Ma'am, the starting is this morning and how?
Exactly. So now the predictive, what I was hoping is that this morning I saw a farmer. He was harvesting his whatever crop with his son. And then somebody will probably say they stored it in bags and took it to the market for exporting. And then somebody will say he sold his goods and he made a lot of money. Simple. So predictive. Predictive listening is being able to tell what the story, how the, just one line can tell you, give you a clue about how the rest of the story will go. What you expect, how the rest of the story will go. For example, here, they told us it is very hot in New Delhi. Heat stroke can kill people. After reading the news, people will protect themselves from the heat wave, or that people are careless. So you are predicting, okay, what could happen, the possibility of what could happen. Let's see. What is a gratitude and appreciation? What is gratitude and what is appreciation?
don't know, ma'am.
They are both synonyms. They are almost both the same thing, really. To express gratitude is to show thanks. To express appreciation is also to appreciate, to show thanks for something. Sincere appreciation, it amplified, it means it gets bigger, it becomes more when we say it in the right way, when we show it in the right way. Appreciation makes specific mention of praiseworthy qualities. We may express our appreciation or gratitude in a formal way or an informal way, depending on who you are talking to. The informal expressions are brief and usually to close friends. For example, express that you've got a lot of talent, you have very much improved. That is showing appreciation for something someone is doing well. Incredible, I'm touched, good cooperation, commendable job. That is to show appreciation. When a student is doing well, you say commendable job, great, excellent. Then formal is usually, most times you will use this when you are making a long speech or you're writing. Without you, have not have been able to, when you're writing to your uncle who had helped you in one way or the other, or you're writing to a friend who had supported you in a difficult time, you say, how can I show you how grateful I am for your support? There are no words to show how your kindness meant, what your kindness meant to me. Or I will never forget the good care and love that you showed me and my family. So usually formal is when you are writing it, or when you are maybe at the person's birthday and you are given the, asked to make a speech, and you now say to Aisha, honestly, I haven't seen anything like this in a long time. You have been such a wonderful friend, etc., etc. So informal it's brief, and formal is usually either written or when we are making a speech. So when can we say formal and informal ways of appreciation or gratitude? If your sister has helped you make a nice meal or arranged your room while you were out, you will say, oh, thank you so much. You have been so wonderful. You know, if you get the high marks from this school and the principal of your school announces your name in the assembly, you would use the formal appreciation. You're called to take, and then you take the mic. Oh, this is to thank my teachers. They have been such a wonderful support to me, and my classmates who have been commendable, blah, 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 etc., etc. So usually you will use the formal one of appreciation in the formal situation, in writing or in making speeches, and the informal one for little things, everyday things, and relationship with people. How often do you appreciate people when they support you in a field? How often do you appreciate people? Now, Phil, I asked you, how often do you appreciate people?
I didn't understand.
How you don't, you know what the word appreciate means? To appreciate, to thank, to be grateful. So how often do you appreciate people in your life?
Okay.
Have something to give him, I will give.
Appreciating is not always about giving. It's also about expressing. If a classmate is nice to you, for example, you were unable to copy your notes, and he or she decides, okay, I will lend you my book so you can finish your notes. Is that not something to appreciate, to be thankful for?
Yes.
So appreciation could be as simple as saying thank you and really meaning it. Your mom helps you every other day, cooks for you, cleans up after you. Do you appreciate it?
Yes.
How do you show the appreciation to her? By helping her do the chores, by saying thank you and helping her do the chores, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to skip all this and I want us to talk about modals. Do you know what modal verbs are? What are modal verbs?
No.
Types of verbs.
Yeah, they are words, other words you use. They are auxiliary words, auxiliary verbs that you use with a verb to show an action. Your modals are, you use them with the verbs to show an action. All right. I'm going to share the note on modal verbs with your teacher and a little exercise on that so that you can read it. But your modal verbs are words like can, could. Can, could, will, would,
Might.
must, ought. You know it?
Yeah, we study some.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
You've done your modal verbs, so you know it. They are auxiliary words, verbs that help other verbs in the formation of a sentence. An auxiliary verb is a helping verb. They are will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must, ought. Right. So can, when showing possible ability, and could, ability and possibility. May and might, for example, when you want to ask for permission, may I borrow your pencil, please? May I have another piece of cake, please? That's polite, and that's the way you should use modal verbs. Let's quickly, did you do this exercises? This 1 to 5. Dash, you please send the message immediately. Could you please send the message? Number 2. John, Dash, come with me tomorrow. Which one?
John might.
Good. Number 3. Am I having only in a feeling this class? You Dash, come and have lunch with us sometime.
You sure? You should.
You must. You must come and have lunch with us sometime. That's, it's actually expressing, A high possibility. They want you to come. Earlier, Ranjini dash speak to everyone very politely.
Can.
But look at the options.
Can.
Well, where is
Mm,
can?
Would Rajini would speak to everyone very politely.
Okay. Dash, I may come in.
May I come?
May I come in? Exactly. All the answers that your brother wrote or has written in his test are wrong. Underline the errors and write the corrections. The first one has been done. When you are giving advice, we should maintain communal harmony. My sister may speak French fluently. The modal verb is wrong. It is showing ability. It is showing ability to do something. So it will be can. My sister can speak French fluently. Shilpa dash should overcome such obstacles very easily when she was young. No. It's talking about the past and it's talking about what she could do, fitness. Shilpa could, the time passes so fast, I never get to finish the lessons I want, really. I'm not happy about that. Seriously. Because I enjoy the class and then the time just goes so fast. And I do like your Mazin, I do like your green eyebrows, but I will also like if you would tell me more answers in class. Okay, I'm going to send a little note on modal verbs to your teacher. Just read through it, do the exercise, and hopefully in the next class, we'll start a new exercise. I just wanted to round up this one to be sure that we did every aspect of it. See you guys
Thank you.
next week. Take care of yourselves.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Next day, God bless you.